Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We bring you stories of faith, love, and devotion. Yeah, just kidding, please help us grow by hitting that like button. Now on to the story. What are the deciding factors while deciding whether to or not after wife cheated? Question. It's been 4 months since I found out my wife was cheating with a coworker. His wife was the one who told me, and at first my wife tried to say it was just an inappropriate friendship but not a full-blown affair. However, when I confronted her with what his wife had told me, she finally accepted the truth. She was reluctant in the beginning about telling me everything, but eventually after 2 weeks she stopped lying. She says she is very sorry and is willing to do anything to save our marriage. I have her phone password, her location is shared with me, and we have been having some tough conversations about our marriage and relationship as a whole lately. She gets a little defensive at times, but overall I think she is being honest. My issue is that I don't know if I want to reconcile or not. I do love her a lot, but I am not sure about our future. What if she cheats again? I have been reading this sub for more than a month and finally decided to ask this question. How do you know if you want to or not? What are the deciding factors? P.S. I am 34 meters, she is 35F, and we have been married for 5 years. The affair was 4 months long, both my wife and the guy have confirmed it. First, I'm sorry for what you are dealing with. Assuming everything you state is the actual history, my thoughts are simple, but blunt. She cared so little for you that she burned down the marriage for a little sexual and emotional gratification from some other man. Then she took it a step lower and lied to you until she was cornered and caught. And this is all just what you have learned because another betrayed spouse was able to contact you. If not that, it's clear she was successful in lying. That tells me you still don't, and will never know the depth of the lies. Having access to her life now really doesn't change anything. It does give you the new burden of being the prison warden and her the prisoner. Get STD tested as soon as possible. Even if you don't think that can happen to you. In reality, you do not know who all she's been with, nor do you know who all the AP has been with. Getting defensive with you in any amount is her way of still maintaining control over you. She is happy that the only consequences to her actions is that you've scolded her and she lost some privacy. That's a small price to pay for the looping images that will now be seared in your mind forever. Why do you consider reconciliation? Are you frightened of an unknown future? Don't be. You're not the first or the last man to be fooled by such a woman. I can promise you from experience, the faster you move on with your life, the easier it will be. You say you love her, but that is not true. You love the fraudulent image of a person that was presented to you. That person no longer exists. It is not your job in life to be miserable just to lift up another person. That's not marriage. Family, you didn't mention children. If you have children, they must absolutely know the truth, age appropriate of course. The worst thing you could do is lie to your children at this point. And she must sit down with both sets of available parents and explain what happened. Do not shield her from that, as you are then once again showing her lack of accountability and consequences on her part. I would probably limit the details to just the parents on both sides though. It is more likely than not that she absolutely will cheat on you again. Much like a child learning boundaries, you have taught her the boundary for infidelity so far as your continued love. While it may not absolutely be a physical affair, emotional affairs are just as destructive. Again, you have loops of images now in your mind, so every time she tries to go to the grocery store, or to visit a friend, or relative, or doesn't answer a text fast enough. You get where I'm going with that. I will leave with this. I suggest these steps as a way of at least preparing for what most likely is the end result. If you insist on reconciliation efforts, then okay, but I implore you to have enough self-respect to do some things that protect you first. Otherwise, what will she get in the end other than a broken, submissive man? A. STD testing. B. Separate finances to the most practical point possible. C. Go sit with an attorney and discuss everything. Be honest. That may be the only real friend you have right now. Insist that separation agreements as well as divorce papers are created. The divorce papers don't have to be filed immediately, but your wife needs to know there is an ultimate consequence on the horizon if she doesn't make serious changes and begin doing all the heavy lifting of this marriage. Give her the separation copy and tell her divorce paperwork is on deck and ready to be filed by your attorney. D. She needs to start serious individual counseling to get to the bottom of her issues. What issues? What made her feel she was so important in this marriage, and you so useless, that she had the right to destroy your spirit and burn down the marriage? Yes, the marriage is dead. You and she need to accept that. She has heavy lifting to do to show a new start can be attempted. If she can show documented treatment, then and only then would you consider marriage counseling as a couple. And she absolutely must be zero contact with an affair partner. The job is not an excuse. If she really wants her marriage, then that is a choice she should have already proactively made to quit without you saying anything. E. An old saying is distance can sometimes provide clarity. If you two are still business as usual by living together, sleeping in the same bed, spending all your non-work time together, that really needs to be stopped for now. Including the sex. Remember, STDs. Your life and health are more important than any frantic, fake makeup sex. I wish I could say it gets easier from here, but the hard work is just beginning if you insist on an attempt at reconciliation. My prayers are with you. I hope you will be able to come back in the future and provide an update. I think the default response to infidelity should be immediate separation and divorce. If that is not the path taken, then there should be very compelling reasons, for example shared minor children. Reconciliation is a very long and painful road. In my mind it's not worth it if not for my kids. I'm still not fully healed 7+ years later. I do feel I would have healed much faster and more easily if I had kicked her to the curb. We do not have any children yet. Story 2. I hid it from you because you don't trust me. Struggling. So I, 35M, let my GF, 36F, use my phone to order pizza today because hers was having problems with the pizza app. Well, nature calls and she announces that she is taking my phone to the bathroom with her to finish the order. I say fine, I'm gonna use your phone here in the bedroom while you do that. This would be a good time to mention that we have a long-standing open phone policy. In practice she looks through my phone all the time while I look through hers basically never. I decided to look through her texts thinking I would find something fairly innocent to playfully flick her shit about. I wish that was what had happened. So my GF has this friend that she used to go to movies with. Let's call him Stan. A couple of weeks ago she asked me how I would feel if she went to a movie with Stan. I said I wouldn't like it as it doesn't seem appropriate. We discussed it a bit and wrapped the conversation up peacefully. I didn't really think much more about it after that. Well, when I was going through her phone I saw Stan's name and decided to peruse that thread. Turns out that Stan had gone along when she went with a group of friends to see a movie last week, and they're planning to see another one in 2 weeks. To be fair, I had been invited but chose not to go, but she mentioned nothing about Stan going. She even told me a whole long-winded story about a couple that went with them fighting the whole time. Turns out the female from that couple has a thing for Stan. Leaving Stan out changed the whole dynamic of the story, which pretty much proved intentional dishonesty. I confronted her about it right away, as I honestly don't think she is actually cheating, but I am upset about the dishonesty. She agreed that it was dishonest, but tried to justify it by saying she was afraid to tell me because I don't trust her. I told her that hiding things from me isn't a good way to build trust. She started trying to go into all the details, narrative style, but I shut that down. The details don't matter to me, I already caught her being dishonest. She also said she was going to tell me before she saw the next movie with him. I called bullshit on that. She may have intended to tell me before the next one, but she was waiting for a good time, and there's never a good time for things like that. She didn't tell me the first time because she was scared to, and she didn't seem any less scared this time. I'm not sure what to do. I don't think what she has done so far is enough to leave her for, but it makes me wonder what else she would hide from me. I really don't want to be the kind of guy who goes through my old lady's phone regularly. I have better things to do with my time. If I start feeling like I need to look through her phone all the time, I'll probably end up leaving regardless of what I find. The thing I'm having trouble with is what would she need to do to regain my trust. I'm really at an impasse as to what my next move should be. My feelings on trust are that trust is a wonderful, beautiful and very special feeling second only to love. She was enjoying having your trust, but she lost all that trust she had been enjoying in a split second by making a poor choice. Sorry, but she will work for years and years to try to re-earn the trust she destroyed, but that trust she may regain will never be the same as it was before she willingly threw it away. This is actually very simple. A loving and trustworthy partner does not hide things and lie. Your GF, multiple times, has lied to you about what she did and was going to do. They were not something she forgot to tell you, she lied about the actions she took. She was trying to hide and cover up something she knew you would not like. What else has she willingly hid from you because of an adverse reaction from you? She's no longer GF material and definitely not wife material. This, yes, my husband did the same, said he was going out to eat and drinks with people from work alluding to his male friends, never told me about the women some he was attracted to and them him. When I would specifically ask who was going, he would roll his eyes and start a fight. What's the big deal with me asking? The rare occasion I would go out, he would always ask me and want names of who was there. I've never cheated, never given him a reason to be suspicious, and never came close to cheating. There's always more to the story, or should I say the lie. Yup, she knowingly and purposefully, perpetually lied. She never had any intentions to tell me about it. If she did, she would have done so already. I don't even know if it is worth trying to rebuild such trust back up over the years. This relationship sounds pretty over to me. Dishonesty, especially regarding loyalty, is the absolute main thing to destroy a relationship over. There was zero honesty involved, absolutely none. A partner actively hiding things because they know that their significant other wouldn't like it is not a long-term partner. There will be worse in the future. I can personally attest to the truthfulness of this comment. Women don't just mention other men for no reason. She is saying here is Stan your future replacement. Read my mind and fix whatever mysterious gripe I have with you. She is testing you. When she doesn't mention Stan again after you said you were uncomfortable about them spending time together, it is a lie of omission. At a minimum she gets a stern warning. If something like this has happened before, she gets dropped without any explanation. There is no way she would have told him about Stan. If she was going to tell the Stan was hanging out with her group of friends, it had to be done the same night or the next day. Story 3. Shocked. Seeking advice. M32 just found out my wife F31 of 3 years, together for 7, has been cheating on me for potentially years, saw a text to this guy saying she is thankful for their relationship over the years. I don't know what to do. I feel sick to my stomach. I knew we were running through a rough patch, but I was trying and we had gone to see a sex therapist a number of times and I thought we were making progress. I don't want to make it sound like I am blameless/perfect. We had stopped having sex when we were doing an intense bathroom renovation, striped the whole room down to studs. At this time my wife got absolutely obsessed with golf. So we spent a whole year either doing reno work or playing golf, at her insistence, basically 4 to 5 times a week. Which meant we were constantly exhausted and dirty/covered in construction work. Now I have never been the most confident in bed. But also my wife is very particular about things and also wants to have showered before doing anything in bed. And she doesn't shower often, like pushing 1 time every 5 days. Oddly, she never really smells or looks dirty or anything. So sex just became almost non-existent. Then when I would try to initiate, it just made everything an event because it had been so long. anxiety inducing for me. And I lost the ability to initiate in a way she wanted. I would ask how she wants me to initiate and what she would like in bed. I've always been less sexually experienced, and never got any help. I've been trying for the past year to do things to make her happy. Doubling down on always doing what she wanted to do. At dinner I order food I know she will like in case she doesn't like what she ordered. I try to rub her feet and back almost every night. And at times things seem to get better. Then there would be times even if on our daily walk I'd kick a curb and then she'd be annoyed at me the rest of the walk. I feel like I am rambling now. I don't know what to do. I know it's been going on since at least April. I just feel completely devastated and sick to my stomach. How could she have been attempting to make things right through the therapy/reconnect with me if she was banging this other guy and telling him she loved him? I just feel so lost. Edit, I saw more texts about them having sex and craving each other's bodies. My wife's Apple Watch lit up while cleaning our kitchen and I went to bring it upstairs to her to charge for the night, and that's when I saw the texts going on through the watch. I feel bad about snooping, but I didn't intend to see that first text just on the screen. Edit 2, day 2 or 3? What is time? I appreciate all the responses, it's all been very helpful. Time seems to be both moving at a mile a minute and not moving at all. I am trying to get all my ducks in a row. I have saved what evidence I could get, pics of Apple Watch texts and emails I've found, saved to a place online only I have access to. I have contacted a few lawyers but they didn't have openings until next week, so it's going to be a bit of a slog to remain normal for that long. Mentally I think I am coming more to terms with everything. Thinking back now, realizing how toxic parts of this relationship had become. It still hurts incredibly bad. I get waves of intense sadness, but it's becoming slightly fewer and farther between, which feels like progress. I don't think I have been depressed and have zero intent to do anything to myself or my wife. We don't have kids or anything, which makes things easier, but we have 2 dogs that will be heartbreaking to either lose or split up. Finances are tricky as everything we have is in a bank account in her name and we have some tracking software tied up to all of our credit cards, and she monitors it like a hawk, so even spending money in an odd way would instigate a discussion. One time my paycheck was like $50 different and she immediately texted me, realizing now how afraid I was to spend anything. We both have very good jobs and do not hurt for money, yet I didn't feel comfortable spending almost anything to avoid the conversation around why'd you buy that, etc. Edit 3, been a few days. Still haven't confronted her. On Monday she sent me a long text from work saying she appreciates me being better and more attentive/proactive in our marriage. We had been going to marriage/sex therapy months ago. She said she thinks we should move from the Midwest to the Southwest for a year or 2 and that would be good for our marriage to switch things up for us, then turn that into an Airbnb and move back to the area we live now but more of our forever home. She also really dislikes the cold of the Midwest. She did add a section about me being bad in bed and that she was worried I wouldn't be able to satisfy her sexually long term. Not shocked given she has refused most if not all the exercises we got from our sex therapist and has been completely turning me down for almost a full year. For basically 3 years I have tried to ask her what she likes/wants in bed, and never been told, always complete radio silence, she literally doesn't say a word. I am open to trying almost anything and being better, but I don't know what I don't know and have never gotten any direction of where to even begin. I was expected to just know what she wants perfectly without her saying anything. Now realizing this is what she wants in basically all aspects of our relationship/life. If she had to bring it up/mention it, I failed. Anyway, after trying to hold it all together, I think she is starting to notice I am being weird or more quiet/thinking deeply about something. I was going to wait until this weekend to confront her, but starting to think I need to just do it tonight. We will see if I muster up the resolve to do so. I know I need to. Hi up, I'm so sorry for what your wife is making you pass through, but believe, do not confront her right away. Now isn't yet time for confrontation, now is time for you to prepare yourself for the divorce. If you confront right away, she will lie to you and at the end you will feel more hurt and frustrated than before. For now, act as if nothing has happened and ASAP consult a lawyer to see what your options are. Then if you feel comfortable with them, serve her the papers where it will be worst to her. Then, right after getting her served, take her affair public, at least to family, friends and, for sure, AP's wife, for she doesn't have the possibility to twist the narrative to make you look the bad guy. From now on stop to look at her as your wife. From now on she will only be the worst of the enemies, the one you have to play the divorces game. Thanks for responding. Definitely still a bit in shock but I haven't confronted her yet. I got screenshots of messages and a bunch of emails. I have appointments to talk with 3 divorce lawyers in the area. I still feel a bit of shock and great sadness but I am trying to get my ducks in a row. Keep us updated fam, it will be okay. Time to move on. I will try to keep responding to people here, and maybe the main post. Been such a whirlwind, on top of work being busy, but I feel like I'm sleepwalking through work in a daze. I saved all the evidence I could get to multiple places, that she can't access. I have appointments with some lawyers next week. Going to be a brutal wait until then. I haven't talked to anyone in person about this so sometimes it feels like this isn't real, then it all comes crashing back to reality. Suddenly worried about the guns in our house too. I don't think she would do something like that, especially her the cheating party, but clearly I don't know her as well as I thought. Yay fam, safety first. Make sure eventually you don't confront her around the kids, and move all weapons. No kids so nothing to worry about on that front. Just 2 dogs. But definitely need to at least move those things just in case can't do it too early though either as it could raise suspicions, and I don't talk to a lawyer until next week. Make sure she doesn't have access to your email or phone. I have been very tight-gripped on my phone. Email is a good call. Gotta go log out if my email account on our shared laptop, where I found her emails. I am sorry if I did something wrong. This is my first time doing a cross post. I was advised to cross-lose this from r/marriage as this subreddit might have some good insight/recommendations for me. I am still in shock over what happened and really don't know what to do. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. TLDR just found out my wife of 3 years, been together for 7, has been cheating on me for years potentially plural. Here is what you do not confront her. Gather the evidence, use another device to gather it or just take pictures when you can. Or if you live in a no-fault state just do the following. Hire an attorney, have her served at work. Make sure it is favorable to you as far as assets and it is listed under adultery. Most women don't want their names associated with adultery on a public form. So she will likely give more away by doing so. On the day she is getting served, call her parents, thank them and let them know you have filed for divorce because your wife is having an affair, and name the guy if you know his name. Then call her siblings and your family. Post online it sucks being cheated on, and tag her and him if you have his socials. She will be pissed, but really do you care as she is dragging you into hell with her. So fight back a little and don't feel ashamed or embarrassed that is on her. As far as next steps, have all her shit packed and outside the bedroom. Change the lock on the master bedroom to a key lock and she no longer has access to it. Personally I would ask her to leave, and go stay with your boyfriend. You don't want to reconcile with this especially with no kids. Now if she by some chance is thrown out of the fog, and wants to reconcile with you and you for some reason want to, then it is under the following conditions. She will call everyone you called and apologize to all of them, for breaking your heart. She will call her AP, and tell him to never contact her again or she will file a restraining order. Now she will remove all social media, and the friends that were complicit and okay with her cheating are gone. You get all usernames and passwords to all social media. She has a tracker on her 100% of the time. This is until you rebuild trust. You will get a post-nuptial agreement, and it will go over her infidelity, and what infidelity looks like, and if it happens again she will pay alimony to you for a specified period of time for a specified amount. Call it a cheater's tax. Also, she will need to do it before you ever think about MC. If she says it was a mistake, stop her and say no, it was not a mistake. Each and every text was a choice you made. Each time you met with him was a choice. As far as you know, I would divorce and do what I said above to expose her, as she is a liar, and will lie about you. This way you control the narrative. Because you got out in front of it. Like roaches that scatter when light shines on them, cheaters tend to hate having them labeled as such. You need to exercise, eat right, and drink plenty of water. Build up a support system, so that means tell your friends. Get into hobbies, take care of your mental health also, read, go to whatever, just do something. Build a 1-year and 5-year plan without her and begin to execute it. I write all of this as this is a blueprint for how to take control of the situation, which way too many men end up taking control of it. Do this and I can say you will be happier with the results than doing nothing. Lastly, if you want, you can tell her you get a hall pass whenever you want at any point in time during the relationship. Thank you for this. I took pics of the texts on her Apple Watch with my old phone and found emails on our shared computer I downloaded. I saved these places she can't find online. I have meetings with lawyers set up for next week, earliest I could get. I don't live in an at-fault state, so I don't think I need a PI or anything else more serious as far as evidence. Also, starting to feel like me confronting her would only promote her to imitate a divorce, which almost hurts worse, probably makes the whole actually divorcing her easier, in that the possibility of reconciliation isn't likely on the table, and as strong as I want to be, maybe I would cave. Those are good guidelines on rules for how reconciliation would only be possible under. Friends will be an awkward sticking point after being 2 for 7 years. We have basically the exact same friend group. And honestly, some of the ones that were mostly my friends ended up drifting apart more. You need to remember that exactly 100% of cheaters are also liars. She is going to lie her ass off if you confront her. Without explicit proof, like photos, copies of texts and emails, she will lie constantly, doubling and tripling down before admitting anything. There are 2 ways to go. Hire a PI and get the explicit proof. Give it to everyone and divorce her ass. Or, decide you don't need anything more than what you've seen. Pack a bag and leave. Never speak to her again, and move on to a whole and complete life. There is always a chance for reconciliation, but in order to do this you need to get control. Leaving makes people ask questions. This puts pressure on her, which is good. Never beg for her to stay, never sit around waiting for her, never answer any questions she gives you, never, never, never. She is trying to gauge what you know and don't know. Remember when I said not to answer any questions? Don't answer her questions. Questions from her are a transfer of power into her hands. If you choose this route, don't tell her what you know. Tell her you know enough to leave. Tell her the only time you would stop and listen to her is if she told the whole truth, and she will never tell the whole truth. My wife cheated 31 years ago, I left, and later we reconciled, and I don't know the whole truth. Thanks for all of this. At this point I honestly can't see reconciliation, and honestly I'm starting to think if I confront her she will just take it as her way out of this marriage she clearly stopped caring about a long time ago, which almost hurts worse. Would be nice to feel like it is a decision I can make, but I just don't see it. I have some meetings with lawyers next week, but it's going to be a brutal wait to keep this all bottled up until then. I don't live in an at-fault state, so I don't think I need to go the PI route. I also wouldn't be able to hire/pay for one without her knowing. She tracks our finances down to the penny. Man, what's wrong with you? Wake up, stop pain shopping and start acting. Gather evidence, hire a PI if necessary, and immediately begin the divorce process. The game is over, your marriage is dead. You are lucky that you have been married for only 3 years and you have already learned her true identity as a betrayer, liar and narcissist. What's wrong with me? I'm in shock at finding out my wife has cheated on me. I'm not in pain shopping, I'm trying to process what's going on. I also posted most of this after 2 days of zero sleep. All of these posts have been very helpful, though I have saved the evidence so I could get multiple online places and have consultations with some lawyers booked next week. Definitely super happy we don't have kids, but we have 2 dogs that I know she will want. It looks like she's always been more worried about dogs than about you. Do not confront her, make copies of all her text and DM messages. She is your wife. She gave up her right to privacy when she got married and cheated. Contact an attorney. Cancel joint credit cards. And secure joint finances. Follow attorney's advice, hire a PI if you need. The finances stuff will definitely be difficult to do discreetly. Our finances are almost 100% commingled/connected. You are not alone in this. But combining finances is almost always a bad idea in a relationship. Unless only one person earns money. It does depend on where you live. You might consider getting a separate account and have your pay go to that account. As for credit cards, no joint accounts. It makes it much harder to control spending, track expenses. Your attorney can help you with all of this. One last thing, get your kids' DNA tested. Yeah, it seemed to make sense at the time. We were supposed to be building a life together fully. Looking back, it wasn't smart. Hindsight is always 20/20. Luckily no kids yet, so that makes things less messy for sure. Just 2 dogs that will be its own can of worms. We hope that by sharing these stories with interested folks like you, we can help people recognize the signs of a relationship in trouble, and avoid so many of these heartbreaking situations yourselves. Have a good day or night. Wherever you are,